it's a good point about the kind of balance of personal. And Maureen will have maybe a similar or different perspective because we'll see it from different sides. I think often the people who worry about the balance generally are not doing enough personal. And the reason I say that is we forget that our personality is a differentiator. Who we are is a differentiator. So often we go onto the platform and we worry about, well, if I say what I think, people might be put off. It's like a fear of losing. And so we restrain ourselves from being ourselves. And what happens is we end up being vanilla. So in the effort of, I don't want to offend anybody, and the vast majority of, I'm making a big sweeping statement, but I would say the vast majority of people are in that place where they're probably going, I'm not probably sharing enough personal stuff. And usually we've seen the extremes of the person taking a picture of themselves crying, and we see that and go, I don't want to do that actually. So I always say to people, the easiest way to get into it is think about what's going on in your day that you could maybe share a slant on. So I will always say, what's the things you stand for? Out of the things, the topic, the subject, the industry you're in, what are some of the parts of it that you'd die on a hill for, you'd stand for, that you believe in, that maybe other people don't agree with you? What's about your personality that you can inject into stuff? But for me, the perspective is the vast majority of people don't do personal enough, but we're afraid of being the extreme. Maureen, I don't know whether you see that too.
Yeah, and I do think it depends on your person. I think it comes down to confidence. I mean, as much as if we're all salespeople here, confidence is key, but a lot of people are confident to talk about the products, but they're not confident to talk about themselves. So I think long-term it is about training. Part of a salesperson's job now is LinkedIn. So it is getting that initial training. I mean, whether people like it or not, that's true. And pretty much every single kind of corporate client that I get, the first thing they say to me is, I don't want to do personal posts. It's the first thing they say to me every single time. And for me, I don't particularly like doing very personal posts, talking about, illnesses, any of that kind of stuff. It's come down to your personality. But I think if you go to a sales meeting face-to-face, which I had to do, and for years I thought I could never do a face-to-face sales conversation, but put me in front of a person, I would be talking about my dog, my cat, everything that I was passionate about, my children, the usual thing. And on LinkedIn, again, it's thinking about, this is your platform to get in front of people for sales. What is it you like talking about? And again, be authentic. Don't talk about things that you think you should be talking about. Talk about things that relate to your job, relate to you, and everything around that conversation that you would have if you met a normal person, a networking event or a sales event. So for me, I don't necessarily talk about loads of my family and all this thing, but I link into personal things for me. So I think it's what you're comfortable with. But I do agree, if you want to really stand out as a personal brand on LinkedIn, you do need to talk about what you're passionate about. You can link that into your job if that's easiest, and that's how I would start personally. That makes sense. And again, video takes a lot of time. It took me a long time to go on video, but it is a key thing that will help your people wanting to convert from just a follower or lurker to wanting to actually have a conversation, because your passion and your knowledge comes across. And I think for a salesperson as well, that's key. If you wanted to grow your personal brand and credibility, you really need to be passionate about your product as well as what you do. And again, as a salesperson, I've not always been passionate about what I've been selling, and that comes across. So if you want to really become a strong individual, you've got to really be passionate about what you're selling, which I think is the same for all salespeople.